My community is probably like, why is Splinter not complaining about DMC? Well, this is for a school project, and my classmates are like, I have no idea what a DMC is. That's okay. Neither do I. Enjoy. The date is 1943. It's the Battle of Kasserine Pass.
Stand your ground,
said the commander, but it seemed pointless. The tanks kept coming with no end in sight. There, Marcus stood with nothing but fear in his mind. He couldn't believe that he was fighting in a battle, and one, which the side that he was on, was losing. One by one, all the tanks kept taking out more and more of his men. Marcus felt sick to his stomach, even threw up. Marcus had black hair, was Caucasian, and had just recently turned 18. Marcus moved back, and it seemed like everyone was in retreat. All Marcus could do was run and keep on running. The gunfire gave him a feeling that he would die any minute. He tripped over a body. He looked at it and said,
Gabriel, is that you?
Marcus wanted to accept his fate right then and there. It felt hopeless. He was going to die, and no one could save him. A tear ran down his face. Then a sudden burst of energy shot from him. It seemed as though through the chaos of the gunfire and the noise, no one noticed. Marcus turned around to see a projectile from a tank coming straight at him. It was over for him, he thought. It hit him right in the face. He launched backwards and landed flat on his back. Marcus thought he had died, but he opened his eyes again to find that the strike didn't kill him. In fact, it barely hurt him. Marcus retreated with the rest of the soldiers, but on his way back, he noticed that he could run faster. Once all of his allies were pulled out, he told his commander. At first, he didn't believe him, but he reported it anyway, and a couple hours later, he was seen with the men of red, white, and blue jackets. They said, "Welcome to the 1%. Do you really want to serve your country?" Alright, in order to understand this, you need to understand, Marcus, that this world that we live in is a lot more strange than you believe. In this world, there are people called the 1%ers. You are one of them, Marcus. These are the abilities at play. Alright, this is the explanation of the rules. There are three main categories of the less than 1%ers. Offense, they focus on damage. Defense, focus on tanking and shielding damage. Support, focus on helping others in each area. Once they have had one category, they cannot change, unless it's a gimmick, of course. There are also hybrids. Hybrids have 2 or 3 classes, however they have no gimmick as a trade-off. There are 5 forms of jujitsu. Elements, the use of water, fire, earth, air, lightning, and ice. Psychic, the use of moving of objects. Shadow, the use of doppelganger or clones. Pure energy, the use of energy into some objects such as shields and blasts. Physical, the use of the body's speed, strength, and durability. The 1%ers have a total of 100 jujitsu. Depending on the certain user, percentage will be more than others. The more the percentage you have a certain jujitsu of, the easier it is to use. Gimmicks are something every offense, defense, and support user has. A hybrid user typically doesn't have one. A gimmick is something unique to every 1%er has. This could be multiple things outside jujitsu and categories, or within jujitsu and the categories, but are extreme to the point where no one else has it.
Okay, this is a lot to take in.
That's okay, the more you fight, the more you'll understand it all.
So what am I?
We need to take a sample of your blood and find out. After a long process, Marcus finally got his results back. Marcus, class, attacker. Psychic, 45%, energy, 24%, elemental, 19%, physical, 10%, shadow, 2%. Okay, after looking at your stats, it makes sense that you are a glass cannon. You have very strong abilities with psychic, meaning having objects close by you at all times will be key. And your energy and elemental can add to your arsenal. With you being an attacker, your moves will be boosted. However, you can take a tank on, but if somebody with physical much higher than yours comes in your path, do everything you can do to not get hit. You'll have a year to train before we deploy you in a real mission.
Where to?
Into Germany, when we need you the most. With backup. The course of the war started to shift. That hopeless nature of the battle at Kasserine Pass was gone, and replaced with optimism that the Allies could win the war. Marcus was dropped off at the border of Germany. For most, this would be difficult, but Marcus has spent a year doing complex training for this moment. Around each of Marcus's fingers had rings, with each string attached to each of them. Using his psychic abilities, he could stretch and control and strengthen the string. but also use energy to add more strings. All this put together, once mastered, could be one of the deadliest abilities a 1%er could have. Marcus used this to launch himself into the sky in a quick fashion, getting over walls, buildings, and people with ease. But had a hard time landing. Marcus hasn't quite mastered the strings yet. After a while, Marcus reached his destination. It was between Belgium and Luxembourg. The Allies had been holding out for a long time from bad weather and consistent gunfire surrounding them. Leaked intel showed that the Germans were planning to send a 1%er to end the conflict, but 1%ers of the Allies would stop it. After a while, Marcus reached his destination. It was between Belgium and Luxembourg. The Allies had been holding out for a long time from bad weather and consistent gunfire surrounding them. Leaked intel showed that the Germans were planning to send a 1%er to end the conflict, but 1%ers of all the Allies would have to stop it. Marcus wasn't tired. In fact, he felt energized. All he could see was snow. He double-checked his location, and yes, he was in the right place.
Yo, where are you guys?
Said Marcus to himself. Suddenly, he heard some kind of whistle, and all in one motion, a massive man appeared behind him, covered in snow. Blonde hair, brown eyes, and scars going from the neck down from what little skin he could see, with a big coat and long sleeves giving him an almost stoic type of man in appearance, a type of guy who shrugs off anything that could possibly be dangerous for him. But this was the Russian way, of course.
So, where's the British guy?
Shh. Be quiet. And be patient.
Marcus and the Russian covered themselves in snow and laid down in it, hiding like a chameleon.
So what's your name?
Shh. They call me the bowler.
First off, what? Where's your accent? And what are your jiu-jitsu stats?
Yes. It's a code name. My mother is from the US and here.
The bowler handed him a piece of paper showing his stats. His stats were the following: Elemental 37, Energy 20%, Physical 28%, Shadow 12%, Psychic 3%. And he was a defensive role.
You know now, so shh.
So what's your gimmick?
So they waited together. They waited for nearly an hour. Then they could hear someone off in the distance. And lo and behold, the British man finally arrives. He walks around and started shouting, "Oi! Is there anyone there?" Okay, work with me here. My British accent isn't the best, but we're gonna power through it, okay? Marcus yoinks him with his string over to where they were hiding. The British man finally gets the memo and hides just like the both of them. The British man was wearing a brown jacket with a UK flag inspired shirt. He had slick brown hair and with blue jeans.
Are you stupid? As a wise man once said.
The British man handed Marcus a piece of paper showing his stats. His stats were the following: Support roll, Shadow Clones 40%, Energy 40%, Physical 10%, Psychic 5%, Elemental 5%. Before the British could introduce themselves, there was a weird feeling in the ground that something big was coming. They all waited patiently to see the disruption. Suddenly, in the distance, they could see a wall of snow rushing at an alarming rate. What the bloody hell is that? It became clear that this was a man running at an incredible speed.
We must cut him off before it gets to the Allies. I know all of your stats. I have a plan. All you need to do, American, is trap him. Before he gets there, hold him still, and I'll finish him.
How will you do that?
You'll see.
Alright, but I need someone to hold the string. I'm not near any trees or buildings.
Gotcha, mate. Alright, let's go team! Marcus and the bowler gave him a weird look.
Go team? What are you, fucking 5?
They all quickly moved to intercept the German. They set up a triangular formation. Marcus and the British man were straight across from each other with the connected string, while the bowler was on the tip. They hid in the large amount of snow. They all waited for the moment. The noise kept getting louder and louder. The tension had a grip on all of them. They waited and waited. Then, bam! Marcus pulled back on the string attached to the British 1%er, and just bowler was ready to attack. The German jumped over the string and launched toward the Russian, hitting him square in the face. If this wasn't bad enough, the German was still bolting toward the Allies' location. Marcus thought fast and attached his string to the ground, then bounced off to connect to the German, stopping him right in his tracks.
Oh, I don't think so, you bastard.
Bowler was bleeding all around his nose, causing major damage. The British support quickly healed him, restoring his face.
Good skill.
He said as almost if the whole fight was an annoyance. As he turned around, his features were visible. The German had blonde hair, a green coat, with no shirt showing his impeccable body shape. but his eyes were black as night. The only reason why this could mean is for one reason only. Suddenly, multiple shadow clones emitted from his body. There were wolves around the German protecting him, but just as they noticed, the wolves opened up their mouths and started to shoot ice projectiles. They ducked for cover. I can end this all. We just need to get close, and I can use my gimmick.
What is it?
It'll make you invincible for a short period of time, so I need to get close.
Wait, before we go, look. There's a pattern to how they shoot. Wait for my signal.
Marcus and the Britishman understood the assignment. They waited. Yet again, the tension was building. Marcus could hear his own heart.
Now!
They charged at the German, but the Britishman had something up his sleeve. His eyes turned black, and with one hand, 10 shadow-killing birds were created. They rained down from below with energy shots. So without thinking, the bowler and Marcus jumped as high as they could. You'll feel a little tingle. It was then they knew that they won. But a few seconds go by, only for no feeling.
Hey, so where's that tingle?
Marcus turned to see that one of the shadow wolves had bitten him in half. He died almost instantly. Marcus then thought to himself,
I didn't even know his name.
It's as if time stopped, and the bowler said,
By the trajectory, we're going to land right next to him. I know you aren't good at being up close, but this is going to turn out into an all-out brawl. Stay in his blind spot, while I take him head on. And listen to me, American. No one else dies today, I promise.
The battle resumed, and just like the bowler said, they landed right next to the German. The bowler immediately started trading blows at the German, one punch after the other. Marcus was worried about the wolves, however, they seemed inactive. The German needed concentration to use them. Back and forth, the punches never seemed to stop. Marcus didn't want to feel useless, so every now and again Marcus would grab one of the German's arms and pull back, completely throwing the German off. The German was in the corner. He couldn't take both on. That's why the strategy was to remain at a distance, only to get close if the attacker was isolated. And all at once, Marcus grabbed the German's whole body with string and pulled back in one movement. Then, out of nowhere, the bowler stepped back and said,
Give me a strike!
The bowler created an energy ball and rolled it right next to his legs. The German was hurt, but it wasn't enough to stop him. And just as he recovered,
Give me a fire strike!
same thing happened, but when it reached the German, it stopped at his feet. It was a bit pathetic. Then an explosion came from the energy ball. The bowler was putting in different elements to explode, but used an energy ball as a vessel.
Fire! Ice! Lightning!
He started throwing them at such a speed that it was near impossible to dodge because it was injured.
American, trap him and run. Get as far as you can. Final. Double. Strike.
The bowler used his gimmick to create a giant blast. Marcus quickly ran out of the way, making sure that the German had been trapped. The bowler screamed one of a death cry. This was the final strike. The power was overwhelming. Marcus felt a surge of power that he never felt before. Even from a half a football field away, he still could feel the heat. But the German wasn't going to give up so easily. He had to stop it if he wanted to survive. While the string pulled at his feet, his arms were still free. So the German, knowing that he had 50% in physical, started punching the blast, trying to slow the impact and the damage. He just kept doing it. His fists started to bleed. His clothes were starting to be destroyed. But keep going, because he had to, he thought. Do it for your family. Do it for your country. Don't stop. You can't stop. Then, silence. Off in the distance, it was hard to tell who came out on top. The smoke started to clear, and Marcus could make out Bowler's head. But as it became more clear, it was the Bowler's head, ripped off, and was held by the German. Then out in the distance, the Germans pointed right at Marcus. Marcus took a sprint. The German wasn't far behind him. Marcus kept thinking to himself,
How could he survive that? That's impossible. How could he survive that? That's impossible. Unless he had a lot of physical, or maybe a defensive role. Maybe his shadows covered the blast. Maybe all of the above.
Marcus didn't have the time to think about it, so he ran. Using his string, he kept propelling himself for speed, but the German was far too quick and was slowly catching up to him. So Marcus used his string for sharp turns to throw him off, but it wasn't enough. They ran until the space felt different. Marcus felt like it was over. The German finally caught up to him and grabbed him. With the fists held high, it was over before it began. With all the force he could muster, the The German came with a full punch, building and building till he somehow stopped. The German was confused. He looked to his fist and saw that it was tied to string. Multiple pieces of string were attached to him, keeping him from using his fist.
Ha! Gotcha!
The German noticed that his whole body couldn't move.
Like it? It's my gimmick. Spiderweb. Spiderweb sticks to the opponents caught in the string. My string works best when there are multiple things to attach to. By using my psychic abilities, I can build strength. No matter the actual strength of the object, it's the psychic abilities that give me this advantage. The more objects around me, the better. And look where you are now.
The German took the time to look around. It was clear that they were in the forest.
You see, I had no chance in an open field, but with these many trees around, it's your grave. Even as I talk, the more strings and more objects I attach to. All I had to do was bring you on my field.
Very well done. You did a great thing for this country and the world, stopping him.
I couldn't save him.
I know, it happens. Now it's time to follow through, soldier. Kill him. Marcus was shocked.
Wait, but there's no need. I've got him pinned. We can...
I said, kill him. That's an order. Marcus looked at the German, and something seemed wrong.
Wait, General, where's his Nazi symbol? He doesn't even have any German-related gear. General, who am I killing?
Marcus, I'm giving you one last chance. Kill him now. Marcus looked at the German, and he was trying to say something.
Orders. Just... following... orders.
Marcus looked at him with a face of shame. Then in one move, he used his string to pull his chest, arms, leg, and head off at the same time.
We're the good guys, right? Right?
Let's go. I try to find the words, but you never come. I can still see you on the lawn. It's on the sun. When the dogs get slow on a Sunday, that's a Black Sabbath. The course of the war started to chiff. Chiff? What? Okay, said Marcus to himself. Suddenly he heard some kind of whistle. What? Whistle? Whistle? What's a whistle? It's effects, yeah. Fine, but the feeling's gone. I try to find a word, but it never come. I can still see you on the lawn. Gotcha, mate. Gotcha, mate. Alright, let's go, team. Sounds a little bit Australian, but okay.
First of all, what? Second, where is your accent? And what are you just... What the fuck?